This is Danny's third time on the show, and he's been the fourth chair every time.
Area farmer.
We've never let Danny have.
There's no reason for me to be the spotlight.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much what we're saying.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where I fit in the intro scale. Am I just an interesting person? Is that the way it works?
Oh, man, yeah, I think so. An influencer? Are you not an influencer? I think you influenced the state of Indiana to vote for Trump, so we'll give that one, too.
Honestly, I was trolling, and it kind of backfired on me.
You just had some toys to play with.
Yeah,
What the hell?
Yeah, I was just playing with some friends, and it got to the media. And they mishandled every bit of it. So.
All right, well, we may pick on you on that about that here in a little while.
It's okay.
All right, we are live, so watch your P's and Q's and your mouths and whatnot.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know what
can't-
Darren Jacobs is going to hear.
Can't keep talking about Darren like that.
No, it's a hot mic now, so we have to watch ourselves.
Although, if you notice, Jeremiah, I finally hung up the Bartlett for America sign.
I need to get another frame for that to go with the others.
Yeah, we do.
It's just the 11 by 17 frame.
I get to look at Calicia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, everybody ready?
I thought you were talking about Rick and Morty. I was like, what the heck is he talking about?
Danny's creepy. All right.
I'm ready.
All right. We go for launch, everybody. Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast on the We Are Libertarians Network. I'm your host, Jeremiah Morrell. As always, I'm joined by our co-host, Dakota Davis. Our show is about our lives in rural Indiana. This is a show about folks who are interested in politics. We promise our episodes are going to be a fun and easy listen. We interview people who are influencers, elected officials, political experts, and folks that we just find interesting. As Dakota provides some extra background noise on the show, we have two guests today. It's a kind of a surprise change-up. Unfortunately, we had advertised Mike Kreider last week. They had a family emergency, so we're going to catch up with Mike again in the future. And since it's a Wednesday and Clay has to go do the church thing, as I said in chat, and got criticized for, we've got two very capable backup hosts. We have Danny Morrell making his third return appearance in the fourth chair. Welcome, Danny.
I'm back again.
Thanks
for the invite.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm
and you had like 24 hours notice. The last time you came on the show, I think you had literally you decided you were coming on the show while we were on the show.
Yeah, I had nothing better to do, and I'll put on pants.
And you had to jump a fence to get here.
Yeah,
there
that
you
was
go.
intense.
Yeah.
With a gun.
Yes. So, and then in the third chair, as you're watching on the premium YouTube feed or on the Facebook Live, you can see Danny's You can see Danny in profile in the black and white.
Does it really highlight my receding hairline?
It does. It gives you the hairline and the color.
Gray-haired, balding, 40-year-old individual.
And then
This is Jeremiah's younger brother.
my baby brother. And then we have Clay. Man, this is the way it's going to go. We have Kade Koger. We've mentioned him nearly as much as we mentioned Darren Jacobs.
I've been on the majority of episodes.
You
I've
have.
mentioned.
So welcome.
Thank you.
You are one of Dakota's very best friends.
Yeah.
Even though you met yesterday for the very first time. And today we determined that you're actually blood relations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's true.
Dakota is a Koger.
Yep, my mother's maiden name is Koger. And we were talking, it was funny, before the show we were talking downstairs, like wondering if we were related. And I was like, yeah, Jeremiah, make sure you introduce him as my fourth cousin. And I texted my mom and asked her if we were related to the L&K Kogers. And she said, actually, Kent is my fourth cousin.
Yeah.
So you're fifth cousins.
Yeah.
Or fourth once removed, or
whatever that means.
whatever the math is. So, but, we probably need to have Kade go ahead and do the purity test like you took, and we'll get the real answer.
Yeah.
Then we'll know.
We'll know for sure. So this week, Dakota and I have hung out a ridiculous amount already, and it's just going to keep going. This is wedding week in the Davis household, so we're going to take a week off next week because I can't get in the house to get to the studio, and it's a holiday week anyway. But Dakota will be abandoning our 40-degree temperatures for something much, much warmer.
Yes.
You'll be.
But, however, my sister and Audrey's younger sister will be at the house.
Oh, will they?
Yes. With
So-
my 90-pound German Shepherd, so nobody try to break in.
So we can look forward to them coming up with an Easter egg episode of the Boss Hog of Liberty.
Yeah,
And
there
turn
you go.
everything on.
Yeah, they can record something.
That would be great. We will definitely release that.
Yeah, I guess the iPhone as a camera up there really doesn't have a password or anything. So whoever's in here, whenever, they can just start recording from the Boss Hog of Liberty page.
They could. Good luck. I don't have much. Good luck. I wish them well to try to figure it all out. I'm barely hanging on, and we've been doing this since last winter.
Yeah.
There was snow on the ground when we started, and we've seen snow fly again. So this is an anniversary of sorts for the show.
You guys have grown fast, though. I've listened from the beginning. And
Yeah.
it's come a long way.
It took off like surprisingly fast.
Yeah.
Like it started out as something that I wasn't even sure I really wanted to do, and then 3 months later, I'm investing money in building a studio in my guest bedroom.
Yep.
And here we are.
It's impressive, though. I like it.
Well,
Very
we're glad
nice.
you're here, and man, we've still got lots and lots of great things in the pipeline. The guest list over the next few weeks is fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to the shows we're going to have. Some fun, and then of course more of the political guest as well. So something for everybody. In this last week, Dakota and I, we alluded to it last week on the show. We were going to go hunting down in I guess southeastern Indiana, the Brookville area.
Yep.
And we went.
We did.
And what went wrong?
All right, so it was your first time hunting.
Very first
and
time.
I think that it's like a rule of nature or of God that, and maybe, I don't know, it might be like one of God's laws, like it's something that, like it is dictated from the top down, like as high as you can go, that if you go hunting for the first time ever, you will not see anything. That's just how it goes. It's like that's nature. But anyway, we start walking out into the woods, and it's, like I said, like I was telling Kate, it's 300 or 400 yards. So we're walking into the woods, and there's like a huge cedar thicket, like cedar trees everywhere, and we're making all kinds of noise. I'm leading us to the clearing that I always hunt in. There's like an old tree stand, very nice place, and we start walking back there, and we see the shape of a man on a log, right?
Sitting.
Yeah,
very
sitting
still.
on a log. But he's in like a nylon raincoat, and he's facing away from us. So I look at Jeremiah, and I'm like, is that a dummy? You know, because he's not 40 yards away from us.
And we
at
had
this
just
point.
talked about people that stuff dummies and leave them out for months and months
we
at a
just
time in the woods.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe this has to just be a dummy. There's no hunter orange or anything. We can't see any kind of hunting gear, nothing. So we're standing there talking, and we keep walking closer, right?
Yeah.
And we get to probably 15 yards away, and we're just talking in our regular voices. We're not trying to be quiet or whisper anything. We're not trying to sneak up behind anybody, being as loud as possible. Nobody ever turns around. I'm like, okay, so
That was me stepping quietly.
Yeah.
I was doing the best I could.
It's like a bull in a china shop.
Take me to the woods and just listen to me breathe.
Yeah, play paintball with him. It's great.
So we get like 20 yards away.
We were right up on him.
Yeah, and he never turns around. So I'm convinced at this point. I'm like, yeah, this is just a straw dummy and some old junk rain jacket. And then I see a Red Bull can, and I was like, that's weird.
Dummies like to party.
I guess. He wasn't flying, though, so no wings. And we get up behind him, and so I just say, excuse me, sir. And this man turns around.
Oops.
Terrifies me, because I was convinced he's a dummy. Terrifies me. And goes, are you guys hunting? No. Just walking through the woods with rifles.
Here's your sign.
He probably thought we were DNR there to check on him, and he
Yeah,
didn't. He
probably.
didn't have the right clothes on, so he was freaked out too.
Yeah, probably.
Did he have camouflage?
He was all camouflaged.
What
yeah.
type of camouflage was it? Because it wasn't working, if you guys saw it.
Well, he blended in decently, but our eagle eye vision, we
that's what it
worked it
was.
out.
You guys were in tune.
Our hunter instinct.
I was
Yeah.
deeply in tune with the nature.
Yep, with my primitive side. I was channeling my ancestors the way that they do in Assassin's Creed.
of course, immediately I feel shamed. Are you guys hunting? Yes, we're hunting squirrel, sir. Which I'm sure on the hierarchy of what you're hunting in the woods, the guy that's out there with a bow and he's bow hunting versus.
I mean, I bow hunt too, and like, I just have so much more fun hunting squirrel than sitting there for hours on end. Because, typically with squirrel hunting, the woods we were in is a little bit different because it's so thick, so you don't really want to move around that much. So, but typically with squirrel hunting, Jared, and you'll realize this whenever we head up to Wilbur Wright here in a couple weeks, you stay in one spot for maybe 20 minutes, and then you just get up and move.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, if you don't see something within 20 minutes, then that spot's dead. So you're going to the next spot, and that's what makes squirrel hunting appealing to me, because whenever I'm deer hunting, I'm up in a tree stand, and I'm sitting there for 3, 4, 5 hours
Mm-hmm.
in the cold with nothing to do, and I don't want my phone battery to go dead, so I'm trying to conserve that as much as I can. Sometimes I take a book, but then I feel like I miss everything whenever I get really into my book. So it's just, I don't know. I enjoy it in the sense that it's nice for like the first hour and a half to just be out there and it's quiet, not thinking about nothing except for the sound.
Yeah.
But then after that, I start getting stir crazy. But you saw me at at the Libertarian State Convention.
Yeah, you sitting still. You're like Danny, where you just cannot sit still for any length of time.
As I'm sitting here fishing with a pen the whole time. No, that's why you need to start stalking them like a Native American. Take your shoes off and just go stalk them through the woods with a big recurve.
Yeah, that's what I actually had a boss that used to make his own longbows and hunt with those, and I always admired him for that.
Successful?
Yeah, that's it.
That's
like,
awesome.
This dude, his name was Brian, and he was the real life Ron Swanson, like in every sense of the word. Like, there's just no other way to put it. He's such a cool guy. And he was successful. He made his own longbows, and I'm not sure if he crafted his arrows, but they looked like it. But that could just be a standard longbow arrow, because I'm not educated enough to know. But he would go out with the stuff that he made and sit there and shoot a deer. Like, there's nothing more to hunting than killing something with something you made to eventually make something out of what you killed with what you made,
Mm-hmm.
and then feed your family with it.
It's as rewarding as it gets.
Yeah.
You'll have to go coyote hunting with me sometime, because it's kind of the similar format of squirrel hunting. We sit for 20, 30 minutes and then move.
And the Kogers eat or sell at L&K Farms every part of the coyote.
We haven't opened that up yet. I don't think we have enough interest. But
Coyote meat. You ever wanted to know what your family dog would taste like?
It's the man. After pumpkin season, it becomes coyote season.
Yeah.
We're gonna get an extra couple weeks out of that stand for you guys each year. Oh man! So it was cold, by the way.
Yeah, it was that, and you ended up finding later that it was the 10-year record cold for that weekend.
Yeah, just
which
our
is
luck.
Why the squirrels weren't moving. It was just too cold for them to get out of their nest. But we could hear them. We heard a few of them barking around us.
Yes.
And
or the guy that we had pissed off earlier, that he was just making squirrel noises just to irritate us because we had ruined his morning.
He's an expert caller and was like, you know what, screw these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was like 3 nests all around us, and we could hear them coming from the nests, just barking to see if there was anything going on outside, and which is the most irritating thing in the entire world, because we're sitting there, we can hear the squirrel, we know where they are, but it's like, just come out. Like, I'm freezing out here. Come out. Let me freaking shoot you.
I'm still not that small, so I wasn't freezing to death, but it was marginally cool. I'm also very cold-blooded, being from northern New York, so I can suffer through it more than others.
Yeah, I don't have the mass you have.
Right.
But
you still deal with cold okay.
Yeah, I have the tolerance for it. My feet just get my feet just freeze. Once they're numb, it's fine.
Yeah.
Once I lose feeling, I'm great.
Yeah.
Once you start having the Mr. Deeds thing going on where your toes just turn black, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, no issues there.
So we went hunting and didn't get to shoot a single gun. The entire time we're in the woods, never shot, never fired. So
we ended up going to the Liberty Bell.
We did. On the way back, we stopped and we had brunch.
Yeah, we had brunch at the Liberty Bell.
Which is
Basic
a local,
bitches, I like it.
a local diner.
Yeah.
it felt like downtown Indianapolis pricing. I think mine was $15 for an omelet and a cup of coffee. But
well,
it's off-season pricing. You got to keep them in business.
Well, let me tell you, mine was $12, and I had 3 eggs, biscuits and gravy, a side order of bacon, and a side order of toast, and a cup of coffee. So I felt like it was very rewarding for the cost.
I don't even want to hear about how expensive brunch is until you go have brunch in Chicago. And your Eggs Benedict is $19, and you could make it for $2.99.
Yeah, that seems a little bit pricey.
Kade, because I'm not doing this potato or bread thing, every time somebody goes to breakfast with me, they get like half of my food. So I'm like, what kind of toast do you want? I just look at whoever I'm with. Do you want white or wheat toast?
Yeah.
That's what I want. What kind of potatoes do you want? Well, I don't know. It's up to you.
That's a great benefit to dating a vegetarian, which I do. It sounds terrible in theory, like, oh, God, she's never going to eat meat. But anytime you go out and there's meat attached to her meal, you get twice the meat. So that's a big benefit.
I'll have bacon and sausage.
Exactly.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Does she still eat eggs?
Yes.
She does still
because
eat
she's not
eggs.
a vegan. So cheese, eggs, I mean, she's not crazy.
Right.
She's just a pain in the ass. No, it's really very tolerable, and it's not nearly as
there's
difficult as I
there's
thought
a
it would
lot
be.
of vegetarians out there that are just completely uneducated and
Mhm.
believe that eggs are baby chickens, so they won't eat them.
Yeah.
Which I was under the same assumption until like last year. I didn't know that an egg wasn't a baby chicken until the guy that I work with who raised chickens was like, well, yeah, it's just like how a woman gets their period. It's like a menstrual cycle.
I'm done.
And I was like, I'm never going to look at an egg the same way ever again. Thank you for that.
I remember
It's just a shell of protein.
growing up and having
Right into your microphone there, Daniel.
I remember growing up and having chickens and eggs, and every once in a while you would have an egg that had a little blood spot in it, and that was.
I think
a little bit of a
that's
win.
more because our dogs chase the chickens and they just scared the hell out of them. Yeah. more than we had started I don't know. Could go either way. I guess if we were a little derelict in our duties of harvesting and you waited 4 or 5 days, and you have a little chick starting too. But
Well, I'd like to think we ate a little chick.
yeah, sure, why not?
You like to think that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
So we
It's like veal, right?
Yes.
yes, it's like chicken veal. What around the Morrell house, we would go get 25 birds in the mail from Murray McMurray Hatchery, and then Danny would usually eat 2 or 3 right off the bat, just early on, because they were like veal for him.
It was like Ozzy Osbourne. I bite the head off and go for it.
Just nothing like a day old chicken.
I thought it was normal.
Didn't know any different. Man, all right. Well, this went way off track. So we had breakfast, and then I made you stop like a tourist that I am. We were in Liberty, the Boss Hog of Liberty cast. We couldn't find a entrance sign that said "Welcome to Liberty," but we did find the water tower. So if you look on the Boss Hog of Liberty page, there's a promo picture up there today of Dakota and I in front of the Liberty water tower. We finally visited.
We started touring the town of Liberty and said, "Have you ever met the Boss Hog of Liberty?"
Did anyone say yes?
There's a parade scheduled next Thursday, but we also
should
have
put
to
together a float.
we have to share it with Santa Claus and a turkey. But unfortunately, Dakota won't be around, so maybe next year.
No.
Maybe next year. So we couldn't shoot anything on our big hunting trip.
No,
So
we didn't even get to fire the gun that I diligently sighted in the night before.
we got bailed out on somebody letting us shoot, and that's where Kade comes into the story.
Yep.
You struck up a conversation, and I self-invited myself.
Not really. It wasn't even a conversation. I just Kade and I are friends on Facebook, but like we said, we'd never met before. So Kade makes a status where he's like, anybody want to come and shoot on my range tomorrow? And I was like, shooting guns, turning money into noise, count me in. And so I just messaged Jeremiah. I was like, hey, you want to go to Kade Koger's tomorrow and shoot guns since we didn't get to on Friday?
Yeah.
And he's like,
After work would be great.
like, sounds great. So I was like, hey, Kade, we're going to be coming to your house.
Yeah.
Song.
I like him more than my next door neighbors, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
I would say it's a crime that we haven't met and been close enough to be friends
right.
until now.
Well, because like I probably met you when I was 15 years old.
Through 4-H and stuff, yeah.
But we've never hung out since. We'll honk and wave and exchange pleasantries and say, we should probably hang out with that guy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, yesterday was the first day, so it was great.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, and then Kade, so yeah, this is the way this one worked. Cade's older brother, Corey, and I were in 4-H together.
I hate that guy.
And then all week it's been, that person's related to Kade too. Literally half of this community is related to Kade one way or another.
Yeah.
We figured out in the last day they're all his relation. So even Dakota wants to run, has been pitching the idea of running for office, and we figured out that he'll be running against Cade's kin, so he's going to have a tough decision to make for the city council race next year.
Well, I guess technically that would be mine, too.
That would be your family too,
Yeah.
Man,
That's a tough decision to make.
it's like Hatfields and McCoys around here. So we did stop by the Koger residence yesterday, and he's got a great range with all kinds of targets set up for pistols, and he's got the appropriate dirt mound set up, and you're set for rifles. You get about 100-yard range, or you can come much closer for pistols. And the first thing we did is Dakota has a muzzle loader that he purchased, and he'd never used it before.
Yeah.
So what the hell is a muzzle loader?
Well, I bought the muzzleloader last year. I'd never hunted with one, never shot one before. But basically, you hear liberals all the time. The old argument.
All they had is a musket.
The founding fathers didn't envision this technology. All they had is a musket. Well, technically, my modern day musket, the muzzleloader, is not a firearm. So your rules do not apply to me, Mr. Big Government. So I bought it last year. I'd heard all kinds of crazy stories about people shooting deer from 150 yards away with a muzzleloader, and I'm like, how is that even possible? This is
248 yards is my longest kill with a muzzleloader.
248, and that's a kill.
Yep.
Yeah. See, that's crazy.
Yep.
And so I was like, you know what? I'd really like to get one of these. And the guy I work with happened to have one for sale, and he sold it to me for $75. And I was like, you know what? I'll just get this one. And if I decide that I want one, then it'll be time to upgrade. So I got that one. Never shot it all winter long. Didn't have time to go hunting last year with the new job and everything. So then Kade invited us, and I was like, this is the golden opportunity, because no indoor range is going to allow a muzzleloader because they produce a lot of smoke. It's a musket.
And luckily, I've hunted with muzzleloaders since I was about 10 to 12 years old.
Yeah, so
around there.
You showed me the ropes.
So, yeah.
Taught me what I was doing, which I'm eternally grateful for.
That's right. It's not that complicated. Obviously, an 8 or a 10-year-old can do it.
It's pretty simple.
But you've got to have a blasting cap, and you have to make sure you're literally loading everything through the front. So it's a single shot. You drop down your you got a couple your grains of black powder,
your pellets,
your pellets, and then your projectile goes in front there, and it's is it 50 caliber?
Yeah, 50 caliber.
Yep. And is that standard, or is that you could be anything?
You can get a 45 caliber, and they still make 46 and 54 caliber and kind of the older things like that. But the standard nowadays is normally 50 caliber.
It's a half of an inch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I have a cap and ball revolver. That would be really fun to take over and play with sometime.
Yeah.
And I have the little die to make your own balls as well.
You can cast your own lead balls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it'd be fun to get over there and kind of toy around with sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we shot that. I brought my .357 Magnum, my one weapon that I have. First time I've shot that in probably 4 years. You always go, holy crap, that thing's loud.
It's
fun.
Very loud.
Yeah, it's a fun gun though. And then Dakota, you had a pistol you brought along.
Yeah, I had my Taurus LCP that I brought along. It was a good gun. Very inaccurate though. Super inaccurate. I will say that.
They're made to shoot from me to you.
Yeah.
With your eyes closed.
That's kind of the problem with those small guns. They're really hard to hold the way that you need to hold them.
You better be able to stab the person if you're going to be able to shoot them.
Yeah.
That's the range.
At the distance we were shooting, I was happy. I hit the target about half to 3/4 of the time with the .357, so I feel like that's going to do the job. If I get 5 shots like that and 3 or 4 of them hit, I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
Things could change under stress, though.
That's true.
It
We
could
have to
change.
keep practicing.
Yeah.
So, and then Kade had a handful of different things that we shot. You carry a Ruger. Is it a 9?
I
No.
carry a Glock 17.
I'm sorry, Glock 17.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
And then there were a couple others that we fired from the rifle range.
Yep. I have it's an AR-9, so it's a 9mm AR-15, and it takes Glock mags, so it goes nice with my Glock 17 because you can use the same magazines.
That gun was
it's
a lot of fun.
It's a
to
pretty
shoot.
sweet little gun
Yeah,
to play
that
with.
was awesome.
Yeah. I like it a lot.
I had a lot of fun with that one because it's got a short barrel. It's got an 8-inch barrel,
Yep.
correct?
It's an SBR, so
Yeah.
yep.
And then you had the suppressor that was on the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2 strikes on that gun that had to be federally regulated, and you had to be you're on some kind of a watch list now, right?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, it's like a 14-month wait to get both those stamps in for that gun. I mean, to
Wow.
use the short barrel and then to own the suppressor itself, I had to go through a little bit of paperwork and some fees, and they basically sold my rights back to me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And see, that's so surprising to me. Like, I feel like the people who are writing these laws have never fired a gun like that has a suppressor on it.
And so you find a lot of laws and the way that they have things set up that are it's just ridiculous. The way that they have things classified and what you have to go through to get things done. Like today I had to go pick up an upper, and legally for it to not be a rifle, it has to have at least a 16-inch barrel. And I prefer shorter as far as that goes for this type of rifle.
To qualify as a rifle?
Yeah.
And not a handgun?
Yes.
Okay.
So I had to have a muzzle device pinned. It was a 14.5-inch barrel, and I had to have it pinned and welded so that technically it is a 16-inch barrel since it's permanently attached. It's just small things.
Yeah,
like
and
that
it's
you
not
have to
even
go
it's
through.
not even like it's a barrel. Like it's open, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
It's just a simple
it's just
extension.
A flash.
Yeah,
suppressor on it,
yeah,
right,
it's
essentially.
just a flash hider, and it just has a quick detach device for a suppressor.
So, and what was that on?
AR-15.
An AR.
Mm-hmm.
What does AR stand for?
Armor light rifle.
Okay,
They're-
not assault rifle.
No,
just
not
so
at
we're
all.
clear.
Yep, not at all.
All
Yeah,
right.
Common
Yeah,
misconception. We hear that a lot in the media.
Yeah, because Armalite made the
They were the first folks to make that weapon.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
And then everybody can copy anything when it's that old, I guess.
Mhm.
Same thing as your AKs or whatever. You can,
Yep.
you can make that. Anybody can make that weapon if they want to.
Pretty much. Yep.
Which is what you did with the other one, right?
The AK that I have.
Yeah.
And that's
It's
what,
custom.
AK is what Assassins. Is it along the same lines?
Assassin's Creed.
Avtomat Kalishnikova.
Okay, that
is
came in strong.
Technically, what? Yeah, I tried
Is that?
It's Russian.
It's very.
Yeah.
I told him yesterday it lost the Cold War.
Yeah. Well, it happens. So, but yeah, there's a company in Greenwood, Indiana. They build AKs, and they have factory models, but they also offer custom service. And I was able to provide them with a specific sheet of things that I wanted on a custom build, and they built it to my spec. And they actually offer it as a model now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and even the color that I used to have them Cerakote with, they're even using that on a lot of their factory stuff now.
I hope you get it cut.
No, I'm just a nice guy, just helping them out. Two good guys that own the company, and they're just really nice, and they even come out and use my range sometimes.
There you go.
So,
Well, very
Yeah,
cool.
Mhm.
I'd never shot an AK before. Now I'd shot AR-15s before, and I was under the assumption that because I looked at an AK at I think Rural King,
Mhm.
but it still shot a 223 round.
Mhm.
So I was under the assumption that that's how all of them were made. It was just the aesthetics that were different.
Yep.
Very wrong.
There are you can get some AKs that shoot 223, the same as an AR. Just like an AR, you can get all kinds of different calibers. You can run an AK in 223. What mine was that you shot yesterday was a 7.62 by 39.
Yeah, that's
That's
what I
about
figured.
that's
by
about
39.
about the
Okay.
standard. Yeah, it's like a short 308 basically. You can get a 5.45. It's closer to a 223, but it's kind of the Russian variant of a 223.
Okay.
And that's nice too, but the ammo's kind of hard to find. So.
Yeah, but it tends to be a fairly cheap round, the
Yeah.
5.45, and you can get
Mhm.
the ARs chambered in that too, which makes it
Yeah, you can
Pretty
buy
nice.
you can buy a 1,000-round case for
like $100, right?
$170, $160 right now. So
Oh,
So you're
wow,
at
yeah.
18 cents or 17 cents a
Yeah,
shot,
yep.
roughly.
Yep.
I was once again. I don't want to brag, but I hit my target every single time with the AR. So I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
when the time comes, and I'm given one of Kade's guns that's perfectly sighted in and ready to go, and they're not moving.
Set up and they're rugged, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You can throw them across the range.
I watched you literally throw a gun and pick it right back up. No big deal.
Doesn't hurt them.
Yeah.
Yep. You did, yeah. That
right out of Die Hard.
Yeah, that was like, you were talking about that. You were like, yeah, you can get some of these that are polymer or whatever, but I feel like if I can't throw it, then, and it doesn't break, then, that's not a good gun. Yeah. And I was like, so I acted like I was going to throw it, and you were like, no, seriously. And then you just threw it down on the gravel.
He's like a 7-year-old having a tantrum. No, what, really?
It happens.
It just didn't go in the mud. It went in the gravel.
Sometimes you just drop your gun when you're running, and if it's not going to hold up to that, why own it?
Yeah.
So,
and
a lot of guys just have trouble throwing the gun they just spent a lot of money on the ground, but if you're going to use it to hunt or fight with, it's got to be dependable.
So this weekend, you in the woods?
Yeah, definitely.
This is opening. Is it opening weekend? Is this weekend, right?
Yes.
For shotgun or for rifle?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be out there? Are you going to miss my reception for hunting?
I might come in for that, but I kind of planned on staying out pretty long.
I don't really have anything going on that day. Dakota.
I thought that you were going to be out there as an Uber driver.
Working for tips.
Yeah.
I do have my chauffeur's license.
Do you really?
Yeah.
So you could have driven us in a limo? We didn't have to rent out anybody?
Yeah, it's not too late.
Oh, man. Well, we already have got somebody paid and lined up.
Have you ever fired anyone?
I have not.
Hard.
I can't say that I have.
And I'm the limo driver on the return trip back to the airport. So
yeah, either you or Sarah. It just depends on how drunk.
Which one of us is competent? But
yeah,
it'll be a good time.
How much vodka and club soda is Jeremiah going to bring to the reception?
I won't drink that much. I probably won't.
Where's your reception?
At Whitetail Tree Farm.
Oh, that's right.
Up in the northern part of Henry County, Springport area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
south of Luray. If you if you get your official Indiana map out, and you really care. So Saturday is opening day of deer season. It's Dakota's wedding day. So you're the one guy that's getting married on that day.
Horrible planning.
It's just a way to really show my love.
There's just going to be
as a sacrifice.
We're gonna hear just gunshots in all of the woods all day long,
all around.
Yes. It's just going to be. It's a true shotgun wedding.
Well, see, I figured it didn't really matter because typical shotgun season is 3 weeks.
Mike Broyles wants to know if he can crash whitetail. It depends upon the gift he brings, I would imagine, right? I mean,
yeah, it just depends on the gift.
If you crash, you need to bring in a commensurate gift, Mike.
Yeah.
And I know you can impress Dakota, so we can
really
find a way to make it happen.
Like Kay brought in a wrinkled L&K farm sign, and I was like, I was excited.
It's the greatest thing
ever.
ever.
This is awesome. It does not take much to impress me, so we'll just keep that in mind.
Well, as is tradition, guests bring gifts around here, and we got one from Kade. So
short notice, that's all I could find.
Hey, you're a 25-hour guest, so we're going to take it.
Third string for the show.
Will a 6-pack do?
Kade,
you have to be. What kind of beer do you need?
If you're gonna bring a 6-pack, bring me a 6-pack of Bell's Two-Hearted Ale.
Rex Bell's he wants to bring PBR.
Bring PBR.
It has to be in 3-ounce bottles so that he can take it on the plane.
Yeah, little mini bottles. At least I'll just drink it on the way to the airport.
Sure.
Just shotgun them. Just shotgun them in the vehicle on the way there. It's like a 2-minute car drive, but it'll be all right.
That'll work.
Kade, I've already had a machine shop let me know that they're willing to work on any customizations you're looking for.
Okay, cool.
My buddy Alan Miglerini,
who's watching live right now.
Yeah, American
Awesome.
Precision Services, said that he would be happy to
right into that microphone,
out.
Danny.
Great.
So,
okay.
Straight on into that microphone, buddy. Third-time guest. We expect high standards from you now.
yeah, well, third time's the charm.
You got to graduate.
I don't understand.
Dakota's
I'm
making
closer than
adjustments.
anyone else, and I'm talking above a normal level.
Well, the problem is you have to be aiming at the little label that's on the microphone.
Yep.
These are very directional mics.
I think it might be some brotherly trolling here.
Yeah.
I think you might have
definitely.
your
I think
mic
Danny
set up a
knows.
little
He
funny.
just doesn't know how to. He can't keep it in his
Kade,
short-term
did you ever
issues.
listen to the recap of one of Jeremiah's parties where Jeremiah got toasted one night and Danny decided that he was going to leave because Jeremiah was trashing his house?
No.
So if no one's listened to this episode, if you have, please ignore. But long story short, Danny got irritated because we were trashing.
This is Dakota's favorite story.
Yeah, it is. I tell it everywhere I go. Like, we're out, and Jeremiah and I will be out to eat somewhere, and the waitress will come by, and she'll say, "Have a good evening." And I said, "Hey, let me tell you a real quick story."
Let me tell you a story about my friend Jer.
Yeah. So he, pretty much, Danny is irritated because we are trashing Jeremiah's house.
Okay, so I'm here to defend myself. So you can go through your story.
All right.
And then I'm going to have a rebuttal.
We'll see if I get it right, because I'm pretty sure I do. And you say, "Jeremiah, you're trashing your house, and I'm getting tired. It's time for me to go home."
What was Jeremiah doing when this was going on?
He was trashing his house.
home.
Like, he was trashing his house. I will agree to that. I was helping in the process of trashing Jeremiah's house. Like, there's no secret to it. Like, that's exactly what happened. But it was the funny part is what happened after you decided you were going to leave.
So when I was like, Jer, let's pull this stuff back together. He was literally throwing beverages from the patio into his home. I'm all for a good time, but like, this makes no sense.
I think they were empties.
No, because I was getting hit by liquid. And Sarah's just sitting on the couch looking at me like, something must be done. And I was like, I'll jump in and try to help out. And then I get ridiculed for being a party pooper.
Yeah, and Jeremiah grabs his brother. And look at the size difference between these two men. Jeremiah overpowers Danny.
Shocking, really.
Okay, to be fair, he approached me from the rear.
He did. He came up from behind him and said, "No, the party is not over yet." Had an open Guinness can and pries open Danny's mouth and starts pouring Guinness in his mouth. Like, pouring Guinness down his throat. Danny's just sitting there going...
Well, and I also look like burn victim Barbie, too, on my leg because I was just in a borderline fire in flip-flops trying to fight off somebody that may or may not be not in my weight class.
I forgot that you had such a struggle this year with fire.
Yeah, fire's hot as balls.
This has to be why Danny's so interested in going to jiu-jitsu with me.
Yeah, he
Yes.
wants a fair
He's
fight.
trying to thwart these attacks.
He's trying to defend himself. Kade, I need you to teach me how to fight and how to shoot guns in case things get bad.
Oh, man. All right. So, we were on deer hunting. Let's try
Somehow we got horribly astray.
Dakota had to tell his favorite story.
Yep.
So, deer hunting starts Saturday. Is it, how long do y'all get with guns?
It's at 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, we get to December 3rd.
Okay, all right.
And then there's 1 week extra for muzzleloader.
There's a week break after that, and then muzzleloader comes in.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
Yep.
So, now that we're into the rifle season, there was a goof up the state of Indiana. We've kind of been covering this story with deer hunting, and we're Indiana's number one tractor podcast, but now I think we're becoming the number one rifle podcast for deer hunting season. We've been tracking this story. Kade, you're our official correspondent. What's going on with rifles in Indiana?
So they've proposed. They had a problem where they came out with a resolution that didn't allow rifles on public land. So there's some rules that are different for public land versus private land. And let's see, November 3rd they came out with an emergency resolution that fixed that issue to where you can still use mostly pistol caliber rifles on public land.
So I could use my 357 if I wanted to in a
357 and up. Yep, you
Okay.
can use those.
Well,
I'm busy Saturday though,
and
unfortunately.
You can hunt with a pistol 357. It just has to have a 6-inch barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's not long enough for that.
No, but you could scare it real bad.
You can make sure that nobody else in the woods has a good day.
Yeah. I'm the one guy with massive hearing protection out there in the woods because
You know it's going to happen.
3 guys fall out of deer stands when I fire.
The only guy hunting with Tampax stuffed in his ears.
Oh man! All right. So if you want to hunt for deer in Indiana, what do I have to do? I've never done it. So I bought a hunting license. So am I good to go? I paid my $20 and got a license. So now am I ready to hunt if I wanted to?
If you're going to hunt on public land or land that you don't own, so
Right.
here's another rule change. You can be a landowner. You can hunt under a landowner. That's normally what I do. I don't have to buy a license. I don't have to buy tags as long as I'm hunting on land
So
that
it's
I
like
own.
fishing in your own private pond.
Yeah.
You don't need anything.
Yep. So otherwise, yes, you need to go buy a license, and you have to have tags for what you're going to hunt for.
So in theory, could I tag along with you and operate under the same rules?
You would have to have a license and then the tags for what you wanted to hunt for, because you're not the landowner.
Okay.
So, and then same thing for me. If you own land, even though I'm a landowner of my own, if I wanted to hunt on your property, I would have to have a license and tags, and then.
Well, I do have 3 acres and an apple tree. So.
Yeah. Well, if you get lucky.
There's a lot of deer in our area. I come home a lot.
You have to buy the tags prior to shooting the deer.
Yes, you can't shoot it and then go buy the tags.
Right.
You get in trouble then.
Is it a physical tag? Like it's an actual. It's not like a.
It's like a paper. You fill it out when you kill it, and it tells you the time and the area and everything like that.
And then you go in, and then after. Okay, so I'm sitting in my deer stand.
Mm-hmm.
I just shot a deer, got it, and I have dressed it in the field.
Yep.
What's the next step after that?
You fill out your paper tag that says the time, the date, where it was shot, your information, your name, your address, your phone number, everything like that. And I normally zip tie that to them, to the leg or the antler or whatever you want to do with it. And then nowadays, in the last couple of years, we've changed over to mostly online check-in. So you can actually get right on your phone, check it in from the field, and say that that's the animal that you harvested, and then after it's checked in, you can do what you want.
Yeah,
with
see,
it.
I didn't know
So
that.
you don't have to go to a check-in station that might be 15 miles away.
You don't
necessarily.
have to. Yeah,
I've
you
always
don't
driven
have
to like the local Rural King or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I had no idea that the online check-in.
Yeah, they've made it
existed.
a lot nicer, a lot easier. It's not such a hassle. Normally, you had like I believe a 48-hour window that you had to have them checked in.
Okay.
So you'd have to take it home and hang it up, and then you have to take it down and then take it to a check-in station, and they put a physical tag on it. But they've made it a lot easier to get to now. So
Awesome.
How hard is it to drag it out of the field, out of the woods? If you're a mile off the road or 3/4 of a mile off the road,
Just don't put it on your back and crawl out.
I like to dress them. I mean, you're going to lose 70, 80 pounds right there just dressing them in the field. So other than that, if you can get them up over your shoulders and their legs in front of you, you can carry pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Really.
Do you typically eat the heart on the spot?
Not raw. Not raw.
It's warm, quivering
I've
heart.
had it. I've taken it home and cooked it, and it's actually pretty good stuff. If you know how to cook it and prepare it, it's
just another muscle.
It's like a
Should be
steak.
lean.
Yeah.
What's the process in cooking a heart?
There's all kinds of different recipes and stuff you can do. You can cook it just like a steak. You can do anything you can do just about anything you would with any other type of meat that you cook. So
I'm being ridiculed.
I'm picking on
again.
Danny. You're speaking over the top of your mic, so you need to lift your microphone stand up a little bit.
He keeps doing one of these numbers.
He's like gophering up. Like that'll work.
There it is.
That's going to be perfect.
Now he's got it.
Great setup, guys. Thanks for helping me out here.
This is episode 30. Every guest has adjusted their microphone as they wanted to, and he shows up and he's like, "This is terrible. Why are you picking on me?"
That is a great joke that we play on people that we take hunting with us, though. Chase Hauser.
Yeah.
I took him out and we got him his first deer kill, and we convinced him in the field that it was good luck if you ate a piece of the heart. And so we cut off a piece and had him eat a piece of the heart in the field. It's hilarious.
Yeah. He's usually your friend.
He's a good sport. He's a good sport.
So you're related to Chase too.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
80% of the town. I think he's just not related to Danny and I think that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
We're neighbors. It's close enough.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable with it. I think this relationship's going to blossom now.
Yeah.
You need that. You need one of those T-shirts that I was going to make Jeremiah and I that says "local celebrity" on it. But I feel like you've actually earned it. Like everybody knows you.
No, that's horseshit. He's not a Mr. Henry County like Jeremiah and I. We're actually like literally celebrities. We're the Kennedys of the county. Cade, I mean, he's.
That was before it was an ambassador.
You guys are the Kennedys
now
and Cade's over
they
here
got
like
rid of that,
Nixon.
right?
No, we came back around
You're
now.
back around.
Yeah, we're back around to
You
Mr.
dropped
Miss
the
Henry
politically
County.
correct thing, and now you're back to where it needs to be.
Yeah, I'm not real PC.
Well, Kelsey Myers, also your cousin,
Yes.
made that change for us.
Yeah.
So
She's doing a great job.
Yeah, he's got as many cousins as we do, but they're all in town. Ours are, all across the country. I've got 35 first cousins or whatever the number is, but they're not here. I've got one cousin that lives in Henry County. Ugh. That's it. And she lives very close to you as well.
I have the same cousin.
Yeah, weird. Anyway. Oh man. All right. So back to the scheduled show.
So what's the next headline here, Jer?
It says Arvin Vorha. What's the next phrase?
A certified asshole.
Oh, my. So Arvin Vorha is the National Vice-Chairman of the Libertarian Party.
I wrote these show notes, and
it's
not often that I curse at people.
Yeah, you've...
Arvin Vorha deserved it.
He has really made a name for himself in the last couple of weeks. He's really been on a path, but... of course, Kade has no idea who he is, and Danny doesn't care.
Clear, he's the head of the Libertarian.
He's like the vice president of the Libertarian Party nationally, and he's got this platform, and he's kind of in libertarian politics. He would be like an extremist, like the black and yellow, very pure.
Anarchist type?
Yeah. Okay. To the point where, Dakota and I describe ourselves as being more pragmatic as far as libertarians go, and, something that's moving in the right direction is what we are in favor of.
So he's the guy that gives kind of a bad name.
He is the guy that's like, he's been making all kinds of statements here lately. We shouldn't have any public schools at all. Well, in Indiana, public schools are part of the Constitution, so you're going to have it. He's very much anti-war, and he takes that to an extreme. I'm anti-war, okay? But he takes it to the extreme of, we shouldn't have a military, and if you join the military, you're a fool. So it just way beyond what I would consider. And even if you hold those beliefs, being the number 2 guy in the national party, the messaging that you're coming out with, when he basically in the last about 2 weeks ago, in the same phrase, he didn't technically compare teachers and veterans to rapists, but when you say something about defending rapists, and then the next sentence you go into is talking about teachers and veterans. Mm-hmm. You end up hamstringing your candidates. So as I'm recruiting people to run for office in 2018 locally or at the state level, or anybody that's going to run federally, those statements get tied to them. So it's a terrible messaging act.
Alienation to the people that you're trying to represent.
Yeah, because as soon as I tell, if Kade's on the fence and he's interested in libertarianism, and then this is the kind of message he gets, he's going to say, well, those guys are crazy. I can't talk to them. He's going to shut down and not want to listen, and he's just going to go listen to the Democrats or Republicans. So in Indiana, we have
I don't think I'd ever listen to the
30 or 35% of the people take a straight ticket vote anyway. So those are voters we're not going to get. So every undecided voter is very important. Somebody's going to split their ticket.
Yeah, and see, back to what he said, talking about the rapist thing. Basically, what Arvin said was, it was in quotes. It's like, guys, we shouldn't count out rapists and murderers. We should still try to get their votes. This is what you guys all sound like when you talk about trying to recruit public school teachers and military members. So basically, like, he wasn't actively comparing a teacher to a rapist. I understand that. I'm able to make the logical conclusion, but what does that look like? Because, he basically did. Like, if you sit there and look at it, he said rapists and murderers, and then the very next sentence he said teachers and military members.
So then this weekend was Veterans Day. Friday was the anniversary of the Marine Corps founding, and then Saturday was Veterans Day. And his Veterans Day message was, "Well, you tried." To all the recruits that joined the Army or the National Guard or the Marines or Navy or whichever branch you're into. So at that point, I was pretty well triggered. That was what he said Friday. Luckily, we had a state central committee meeting of the Libertarian Party of Indiana on Saturday. I don't often say luckily we had a meeting, but luckily we had a meeting. So I was able to draft some language that I put before the state committee for the Libertarian Party, and basically it was a rebuke of Mr. Vorha, asking him to resign, saying, this is damaging to our candidates. We have a record of actually winning races and being very relevant in Indiana. And at that point, he
decided.
So the state basically unanimously adopted the resolution, called for his resignation, and we moved forward. So, but then of course that triggered Mr. Vorha.
Yeah, he got super triggered, and basically this is what he said. I'll just read it. I'm not going to try to summarize it. I'll read part of it anyway. The part that pertains to us. He got triggered. Decided to post some things on Facebook about us, and he said, because we should probably also note here that Mr. Vorha attended our Indiana State Libertarian Convention last year. He was a special guest at the time.
He was one of the featured speakers at the state convention.
Yeah. And he said, at a Libertarian convention that I recently attended, there was a chairs debate. An audience member asked something to the effect of, if you could make one libertarian change to a current law and it couldn't be about marijuana, what would it be? I waited to see what he would choose. Ending government schools, dismantling the military welfare complex, abolishing Social Security, the FDA, the Fed, DHS, the TSA, ending the income tax, hell, abolishing the federal government. He declared cold beer on Sundays. In other words, all of the changes that he could have suggested, he chose legalizing alcohol sales on Sunday. And then he goes on for a little while to continue to harp on the fact that he didn't believe that the choice of the future chairman in question was valid enough. And that really got under my skin. And it got under Jeremiah's too, and we both voiced our opinions on that thread. Because why would you go up there and, as a state chairman, like, you're working within your state, you have no effect on the national party. Why would you go up there and say, yeah, I want to abolish the Fed? Like, what does that have? How can you make a change like that? How can you make a positive effect for that? Whenever Indiana is the only one of the 50 states that still has made illegal the sale of any kind of alcohol on Sundays. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
And the issue with alcohol sales in Indiana has been something that libertarians have been at the front of for a very long time. For about the last decade, we've been leading the conversation or been a big part of it. I managed Rex Bell's campaign for governor last year, and I'm getting ready to play a clip for you guys. It was from October 25th of 2016. Knowing this issue was coming, the national party or the state party has been talking about alcohol sales
on Sunday. Would your administration support modifying or eliminating the ban? Why or why not? And we'll start with Mr. Bell.
Well, I've always maintained that anything that's legal on Saturday should be legal on Sunday. Regardless of how I feel about it, and I'm not a drinker, I'm not going to buy it on Saturday, and I'm not going to buy it on Sunday, but if somebody wants to, this is left over from the blue laws of years ago. You couldn't sell cars on Sunday, you can sell maybe cold beer in one situation, and in another situation you can, and you get into a situation where a store can legally be selling warm beer, and if the power goes off and the heat goes out and the beer gets too cold, all of a sudden he's breaking the law. I think that's something that we need to look at and do away with the blue laws and certainly allow Sunday sales.
So what Rex basically said was what the Libertarian Party has been pushing for the last decade, and it's finally actually taking effect. Where we've seen some movement in the last couple of weeks with a summer study committee, that a lot of the conversation and visibility to this issue has come through the Libertarian Party of Indiana's actions. And there was a big breakthrough last year with Ricker's convenience store, basically finding a loophole where they could sell cold beer in their grocery store, in their convenience stores, because they opened up a burrito bar, and restaurants could sell carry-out liquor.
Yep.
And so the Ricker's convenience stores in Sheridan, Indiana, and in Columbus, Indiana, could sell cold beer. And immediately the Republican legislature said, no, that's unacceptable. We can't do that. So they came and crushed it.
Hold on. First of all, you say the Republican legislature. It's not just the Republican legislature, as much as it's
now there are supermajorities on the Republican side,
right?
But it has to your point. You are right. These blue laws that are in place have been in place by both. When the Democrats are in charge, Republicans are in charge. Nothing has changed because there's another factor.
Yeah, it's because the liquor lobby, and we hear about lobbyists all the time. We see it, like if you watch House of Cards, you see Remy
Remy,
Denton. Yeah, Denton. That's
Yes.
what it is. I almost said Brenton. Ha 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 ha. And
it's a different group.
totally different story. Jeremiah, you're part of a lobby group. But
yeah, I do. I do some work for Purdue School of Agriculture.
So obviously, lobbying and being a lobbyist is not a bad thing at all times. Like
citizen advocates. There's a difference between citizens. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with lobbyists that are paid as well because they have the time and the effort to go in and to shepherd through an issue, and they do very good work. So I'm not crushing all lobbyists, but at the same time, those with connections and the money and the ability to shepherd something through, they end up with control and influence over legislators.
Right, but what's incredible with the liquor lobby is the amount of control. Because it's not just Sunday sales that they look at. It's not just selling cold carry-out liquor that they look at. There are some legislators, and this is just what I read today, that have entered legally binding contracts with these liquor lobbyists to where they are bound to show them each piece of legislation that they are about to vote on. So not only we're not just talking about one guy or like 3 or 4 people. We're talking about an entire team of people that are reading and analyzing pieces of legislation, even if it has nothing to do with liquor laws, because they want to know and they want to have an influence on it. So we've seen in the last week a grand bargain of sorts on this issue where there are multiple different lobbying groups involved. There's like a packaged liquor group, there's a group for grocery stores, and there's a group for the liquor stores. And then I think convenience stores also have their own group. So everybody has a different agenda. What's going to happen, or what the majority of these lobbying groups have agreed on, which then the legislators are expected to adopt, because the people that were in their ear whispering, hey, we got to stop this, if they're cool, then the legislators are going to be cool. It's almost an inoculation. They're going to allow Sunday sales, but not an expansion of temperature. So, Rex's example that he used in the speech about, if the guy loses power and all of a sudden it gets cold, it becomes illegal. It's fine to sell something at 60 degrees, but at 40 degrees, all of a sudden you're a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that's why the state party actually, we started to organize a lot of events at Rickers to protest these laws.
They would have drink-ins on Sunday afternoons where you could buy your cold beer and drink it in the restaurants, or you could carry it out if you wanted to as well. But they organized these drink-ins, and it's been a massive PR success for the Libertarian Party of Indiana, which is what we were trying to point out to Mr. Vorha, who doesn't understand that if you can win on an issue like this, that is at the top of, at Kade, I don't know how much you pay attention, but this cold beer thing has been a big issue in the state of Indiana for about the last year.
Sure.
And the Sunday sales thing has. And the Libertarian Party of Indiana has been able to get headlines for the last year because of this sort of activity. So when you have a national chairman that's, or a national vice-chairman that's criticizing your efforts, once again, it cuts you off at the knees. So,
So,
just an interesting time and an interesting fight, and it's basically just out of spite that this has come back at them.
in this conversation, how does the brewery factor into it, or as far as your mindset, where you can go buy a growler, have it filled up, and brought it home?
Sure. Yeah, I think a growler fill at a brewery is something you probably will still be able to do no matter what. It's another nice little carve-out that had all of a sudden developed where your local breweries could sell you a growler on a Sunday, so you could buy beer on a Sunday if you went to a local, somebody, so if we went up to Muncie and went to Elm Street where the Libertarians are meeting on Sunday.
Yeah, or Chili Water,
or Chili Water,
right.
or any of those, or the Wooden Bear in Greenfield, or any of those local breweries, you could go up there and get your growler filled and leave.
So let's talk a little bit. I know it's not on here, but let's talk a little bit about why. Why is this such a big deal to the liquor lobby? Why is it such a big deal that they are against Sunday sales and they're against carry out?
Everybody has their turf they're defending.
Right.
So if you are a liquor store, you can't sell soda. There's certain products that you're just not allowed to sell. So
cold soda.
Yeah, I guess
you're allowed to
yeah.
fountain soda.
Right. And they are protected to where they could sell. They're the only ones that were allowed to sell cold beer Monday to Saturday. Whereas a pharmacy, if you have a pharmacy in a store, like that's why a grocery store is allowed to sell hard alcohol. If you remember in Newcastle, we had a Marsh, but the Marsh didn't have a pharmacy, so it didn't have alcohol. They only had beer.
Mm-hmm.
Our Kroger or our pharmacy, like a CVS, will actually sell hard alcohol because a pharmacy is allowed to sell it. So there's different carve-outs for different organizations.
Well, even locally at our Kroger and other Krogers around, they have a wine chiller that you can chill your wine.
So you can buy
chilled cider as well.
Cider is considered a wine in Indiana. So then that is something that you can actually buy cold.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, it's just arbitrary, and none of it makes any sense. None of it's supposed to make any sense. It's because you're dealing with laws that were passed in the 1930s and during Prohibition or just post-Prohibition, and then everybody sets their business up around it. So then you hire lobbyists to do your bidding to try to keep your share. You know, you can't just decide. L&K can't decide that you guys want to start selling hard cider slushies. You would need to have some sort of a permit.
Yep.
And then in Indiana, you have a one-way, two-way, or a three-way permit that says you can sell beer, or you can sell alcohol, or you can sell all. The combination.
Yeah, but here's the.
And then you have to bid on those permits.
But the deal with all of this is that the liquor lobby knows the stats, and if you drive by any grocery store, you drive by Aldi, or Kroger or Walmart, that's the big three in this town. You drive by them any other day of the week, the parking lot's not that bad. You're going to find a good place to park, and you're going to get in and out fairly easily. On a Sunday, right around 12:30, 1 o'clock, whenever you try to go to Kroger, what happens? The parking lot is packed, you can't find a place to park, and you can't find a freaking cart to save your life, and you're going in there, the lines are super long, and that's everywhere.
I wonder if I can buy hard alcohol in ClickList. I was just bragging about ClickList today. I wonder if I can buy hard alcohol that way, too, and skip the lines.
Yeah, probably.
You wouldn't get as much judgment that way.
They would have to have a 21-year-old bring it out to your car, though.
Yeah. Once again, we've covered tipping.
Would they have to consider it a convenience store at that point?
I don't know.
That's pretty convenient.
It is.
Very convenient.
But it's a convenience store with a pharmacy. I used ClickList today. I was done with my grocery shopping in 5 minutes, but I don't carry a lot of cash. Today I had like $2 on me, so it was just a shameful amount. And the guy comes back up to me after I've done my transaction, and he's like, "Well, you've got everything you need." And he's, waving at me.
Just lingering.
Yeah, just lingering. And
Man.
I didn't tip. I did a Dakota, and I didn't tip today.
People who don't tip, am I right?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Kade, have you used the ClickList?
Not yet.
Not yet. Well,
Not yet.
Bring $5. Be ready. It's because they'll wait around.
All right.
I think you should. You're providing a service.
Yeah.
And you should tip on something like that.
I suppose you should. It just didn't occur to me until
You're a
until
DB.
until he stood there like a bellhop looking for his little something.
Did he have his hand out?
No, but it was close. It was close.
say,
I felt bad.
Here, son, have a piece of gum for all your trouble.
I do have a correction. Mike Broyles, thank you for this. The three-way is the beer, wine, and liquor, so it's the wine that makes it a three-way license. So I have to. I think the third in there would probably be the hard alcohol. So
yeah, I mean, my whole point is that the liquor lobby is terrified that whenever, I'm not even going to say if, when Sunday sales are legalized here in Indiana, it's going to kill every single bit of revenue that they have. Because instead of going to the liquor stores throughout the week, people are just going to pick it up in the grocery store while they're doing their weekly grocery shopping.
Those are the breaks. We don't protect buggy whip manufacturers because we don't use buggy whips anymore. I know, I mean, that's the way a modern economy works.
I mean, I go to liquor store whenever I buy beer, whenever I buy any kind of alcohol.
Because they provide you a service. They have a better selection and a deeper selection and knowledge about the products you're going to buy.
I mean, my favorite beer is Bell's Two Hearted. You're not going to find that at a grocery store.
You're not going to find it at Walmart.
And if you go to a convenience store, isn't it? It's more expensive there too, right?
Right.
Typically,
because it's convenient.
Yeah.
You can pay $4 a gallon for milk at the Casey's, or you can pay $1.59 at Kroger, or probably $1.10 at Aldi if you want to go through there. But then you have the trade-off if there's one or two cashiers working. So
it's just a whole lot of protectionism, and liquor and the Indiana Association of Beer and Liquor Retailers has such a death grip on this because ultimately they're scared. They're scared of what's going to happen whenever this deal goes through, and all of a sudden people are allowed to buy their alcohol at the grocery store instead of their little places. And they know that a lot of the little stores, like the one just right down the road from my house, is probably going to shut down. I mean, they don't have a lot of business to begin with. And whenever I can buy my beer at Kroger, on a Sunday, whenever I do my grocery shopping, of course they're going to suffer, because then I'm not going to have to take another trip there on Monday to buy it for the week. Like, that's just how it goes. And that is the free market. You have to, at that point, they're going to have to figure something out. There's going to have to be innovation within their market to make sure that they survive.
Well, some comments we have. Rick Irvine is making a great point about selection and the different sizes. If you go into your local liquor store, you might be able to find the same thing in 5 or 6 different sizes. Whereas, if you go to the Koger, you might find it in 2. And then Gabby, I'm going to crush this name. Gabby Paolo wants to know what a buggy is. We probably have more buggies on the road in Henry County and Wayne County, Indiana, than most other areas do.
Gabby's from Ohio. So. Okay.
Well, Dark County over there, they still have the Amish too. It would be the little crop you would use to drive your horses in your horse and buggy. Your cousin is jealous. Kelsey Myers is jealous that Kade is in the celebrity seat. So
I'm also jealous that Kade's in the celebrity seat, but whatever.
Poor Danny.
when Danny's
never been.
When Danny learns how to use the microphone, we'll let him have the celebrity seat.
I think that I have like the doofus mic over
there. They are the exact same.
Mic. I don't think. Let's trade.
Let's go.
See, that was the mic that I always used before, but it's got the special stand and it's got the different mic, and it. And then whenever we started having a guest, it was like, I guess the right thing to do is
give them the one that's different.
Give them the better one. You're welcome.
Danny, do you really think that we give Kade the doofus mic? Is that the way we treat him?
No, I think I had the doofus mic.
No, I'm sorry, Clay. That's twice today. Struggling. You're in Clay's seat. You're keeping it warm. And
yes,
you think we would give him the doofus mic?
I think Clay gets the doofus mic every time. You told me that in confidence, and I'm making it aware.
Releasing it to the world.
Yeah,
hey, don't say anything bad about Clay, because I have to get my haircut there on Friday before the wedding.
Well,
I got mine last week.
I did not get my hair cut by Clay today. I did. Sports Clip.
I went in there and got it.
I didn't have time. I went Sports Clips.
Oh, that's a good
I
man.
got a little massage. Hot
Is that
towel,
included?
Shampoo. And she was super awkward, and it was terrible the entire time. I didn't enjoy any of it. It was $22 plus tip.
You didn't get the good conversation like you do with Clay.
Yep. No.
It's always a good experience.
I just go in there and talk politics with him.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I've been in there like 2 hours after the haircut's done.
Yeah, we had a pretty good little conversation today. I like talking to Clay.
Did you tell him you're showing up on his program tonight?
Yeah, he was congratulating me on my debut appearance.
There you go. It's a very big deal. All right, so we've flogged this one to death. The last major point that Dakota had in our show notes that he prepares for us every week is that 61% of Hoosiers are now in support of Sanity sales. I've also seen the number 70% issued on some stuff that's on the Libertarian Party of Indiana letterhead. We may be rounding up, I don't know, if it's over 60%, this is truly an inoculation. It's them trying to hold back anything they can, so that's why this is going to get passed. And they're going to hope they're good for a while.
There's another point on here that I think is very important, and it's something that I talked about whenever I was on We Are Libertarians last week, is that libertarians, and this is the proof, are able to accomplish things through the state legislature, even though we're not elected.
We're able to influence conversations,
and
influence policies.
And I think one of the biggest helps with that has been Rex Bell.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So we played that clip from Rex, and the very next statement, the next person to speak was our current governor, Eric Holcomb, and he said, absolutely not. It's a controlled substance, and we have these rules. That attitude is changing, and it's taken 1 year from the date of that now this is an unmovable object that we expect to happen. And the candidacy of Rex, even though he may have only wound up with 4% of the vote, it really did influence the policy that we're seeing in Indiana, and it's one of the reasons why it's very important for us to run candidates. We win locally. A statewide race, Rex or Lucy Brenton or even somebody like Rich Turvey who ran in the 6th District last time, that's a major lift to try to win a statewide race or even a congressional seat. But we have people elected to township boards, and I truly think that we're not that far off of winning a state representative seat at some point. But even if we don't, we do influence at a major level. Not as much influence as Kade had when, just before the Republican primary, he went out and terrorized one of his fields and wrote is it Trump you wrote out in the field?
Yeah, it was just Trump.
And then you flew the drone?
Yep, flew the drone up over it and got some good footage.
And it went viral.
Accidentally, yeah.
Yeah.
How many views did you have on that video?
It went through so many different media outlets. I haven't gone through to just add them up, but by good estimation, it's somewhere around like 1.5 million views.
That
thought
is
it was-
crazy.
At least over 12. So
See, I was just messing around. Like, I thought, maybe 10 of my friends would be like, "Oh, that's hilarious. That's funny." I was really just trolling, and then it ended up enough people sent it to news and the media outlets that
It fit the narrative.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And
By 10 o'clock next morning, I had Channel 8, Channel Fox. I had everybody calling.
I had no idea who you were at that point. I'm just like,
I just rolled my eyes and said, "Look what Kade did. That's hilarious."
well, and how do you respond to that? So you have the local state media contact you and say, "Wow, what were you thinking?" And you're just like, "Well,
I just gave them the story that after it came out that it was going to be between Trump and Hillary. I had to give my support to somebody, and at the time I just wasn't educated on the libertarian side, and so I just kind of put it out there as a joke, and of course they got the story wrong as far as my information goes. They even screwed up my name and everything else. So
Did they call you Corey Koger?
no, they said I worked for L&K Produce, which is kind of a half truth, but they got everything kind of screwed up.
I
but
am L&K Produce.
the worst part was probably all the death threats that I got for it. That was always,
You got
that was,
death threats for it?
Oh yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Did you
you
get called a racist?
Oh yeah. Yep. Oh,
Nice.
I'm a white guy, so I'm immediately
Nice.
racist.
And you're
So-
bald, so...
And the thing that was actually pretty cool about it is I actually took the time. I took the time out to go and talk to those people and say, "Hey, look, this isn't what it is. This isn't what you're saying it is." And the very vast majority of those people came back and was like, "Hey, thanks for replying. That's actually pretty cool that you went out of your, spent time to do that and explain everything to me."
well,
And
it is harvest time, and I'm in the
sorry,
tractor.
sorry, I wished your death.
They were actually pretty cool about it. I mean,
Hey, no-
I don't think they were expecting a response.
I
Hey,
feel like that's
what
the
I
way
said
most
about putting the
people
bullet in
are.
your head?
Yeah.
That, never mind that.
I'm probably the last guy to threaten that for. So.
Danny's just giving me daggers. He talks back past the microphone, and then it's my fault. I
No,
love
it's
him. Oh man! All right, so we have one more local issue that Dakota stuck on here. He messaged us this morning. He says, "Is there anything in the newspaper today?"
yeah,
I said,
okay,
the
by the way...
commissioners are being sued again.
By the way, Courier Times, you accidentally threw a copy of Friday's paper on my door, and that was very irritating.
You got tomorrow's paper today. Congratulations.
Yeah, and like today of all days is like the most important day that I need to get the paper. When I'm preparing for the show, I need to know what's going on locally, and then I open it and I'm like, this is talking about large trash again.
How many times do I have to read Kevin Green's story about large trash?
Yeah, and so I looked at the date and it's like Friday, November 10th, and I was like, are you freaking kidding me? So I had to put in the group chat, I'm like, hey, what's going on locally? I am dead to the world, apparently. And you told me, you said the commissioners are being sued again. And I thought it was something over like the wind farm debate or something of that matter. And you started sending me the article, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this actually happened. And apparently the sheriff's department arrested the wrong person.
It's an honest mistake.
Yeah, this lady was arrested by the Henry County Sheriff's Department. She's a resident of Muncie, Indiana. And she tried telling the officers, no, like, I'm totally innocent. Like, I should not, there's no reason I should have a warrant out for my arrest for dealing drugs. I am a mail carrier. I am just a tax-paying mail carrier in your town.
It wasn't me, to quote the great philosopher Shaggy. It wasn't
Yes, wasn't me. You didn't catch me on camera. But she tried fighting it. They did arrest her. She was put in jail. And then they discovered that the real person who is wanted on drug charges was actually arrested back in 2015 and is still in prison.
Got him twice.
Pretty large mistake to make.
It's double jeopardy. That doesn't work.
So I put on here everything that she is suing them for, because it's like a huge list, and I'm going to read it off, and please don't fall asleep on me, but it's false arrest, false imprisonment, abuse of process, malicious prosecution, intentional infliction of emotional distress, which basically means she must have got triggered. Negligence, defamation, and a violation of her rights. You were wrong. It's defamation.
Oh, okay. I forgot how they say it down at Tri-High.
And a violation of her civil rights. I don't know if I said that. But anyway, in the I mean, that is just so much. I mean, I'm just taking a second here.
I'm glad the county has liability insurance.
There's just so much here that they're being sued for. And I'm sure like half of this is probably going to be thrown out in court, like the negligence and defamation. And
but in her defense, what else is she supposed to do?
Yeah, it's...
I mean, honestly, like, they did something ridiculous, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's horrible. I mean...
Allegedly.
She gets... No, they did it. she was processed. It's pretty hardcore proof.
But like just writing an article in a newspaper, that's going to go away really quickly. There's not going to be any pain for the county. There's not going to be pain for anyone.
Right.
So she...
Yeah, what are you supposed to do in this situation? I would be suing
Yeah.
the crap out of the county if that
It's
happened
like
to me. And we
as a
talked
child.
about that. And Jeremiah's like, actually, did you know that there's another Dakota Davis in Henry County? So you're just waiting on that to happen to you.
Yeah, you are. There's a little kid that was mauled by a dog named Jeremiah Morrell in Florida. So every time there's a story about him, that hits my my Google alert about my name. But you've got a same name right here in the county.
Yeah, and I'm friends with him on Facebook. So, like, occasionally, like, he'll do a live video or something, and I'll get a notification. Like, it pops up on the top of my phone. It says, Dakota Davis is live now. And I'm like, whoa, that's kind of
Really?
weird.
Do you ever message him and be like, hey, buddy, you staying out of trouble? My name's at stake.
I always find people with my name because Kade's kind of a weird name.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of Kades around.
Every time that I type your name on my phone, it changes it to Jade.
Yeah.
And then your last name, Koger, it changes it to...
Kroger.
No, it changes it to Lover.
Jade
So-
Lover.
I mean, there you go. I mean,
Same
that's-
thing, only different, right?
Yeah, right.
But I find other Kades and I'll message him and just say, there can be only one. Just trolling other Kades.
So you just
Brilliant.
pick it on. And then you had to find somebody that rhymed with you.
That was a complete accident. Her real name is Jadrian,
Okay.
but she goes by
Jadrian.
Jade. And just
You didn't just have your Tinder profile set very
No,
tightly where it was
no.
only has to sound like.
complete coincidence.
Just sometimes whenever you're sitting in the house and you sometimes go, Jadrian.
Yo, Jadrian. Like Rocky.
Yeah, she was watching just a few minutes ago. I don't know if she is anymore.
she said she was going to.
Yeah, she was commenting. She claims that the clickless people will not accept tip money. So apparently she tried. She's a better person than I am. I didn't even try.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That awkwardness.
like-
I felt
Did you
like
see,
you wanted to
he
tip.
was like dead serious, like, absolutely she's a better person than you, Jeremiah.
No doubt. No doubt.
That's why I married her.
All right. Well, we're at that point in the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're here for final thoughts. Danny, you're the third time fill-in. What you got? Anything cool?
I don't have a whole lot of real final thoughts. I mean, it's great to be here again. It's been a enjoyable time this evening, but
Even though Jeremiah kept harassing you about getting up on your mic.
yeah, it's been a lot of that so far. Maybe I'll get better. Maybe I'll get better for my fourth. But beyond that, no, it's been fun. I just hope everyone has a good week, has a great Thanksgiving, enjoys friends and family, and makes some great memories.
I will be with none of my family.
Oh, and I hope you have a
Thanksgiving.
wonderful honeymoon in Hawaii.
Thanks. So you're going to take advantage of it and put out your Uber Light and...
I invited you to a party at the house Wednesday night. He said, no, I'm going to be in Hawaii. I was like, oh, all right, we can go kiss my ass. But anyway, no, it's great. Go have fun with your family, enjoy the fall festivities.
All right. Well, very good. If people want to follow Danny, do you want them to follow you on
No.
on the Twitter?
Nope.
D-Max Juice.
That's not good.
Danny Morrell, the official contributor to the
Yeah,
to the Dan Dockett show.
I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, none of which have anything interesting to follow. But you can find me under Danny Morrell or DP Morrell, pretty much it. Any of them.
There we go. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Danny. Mr. Koger, you made it. 30 episodes in, big landmark episode, and we got you finally.
Yeah.
You're one of the original listeners. We appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Been here since the beginning.
That's awesome. Once upon a time, it was we were doing these poolside, and it was nice. And today, we didn't see the sunshine all day.
Yep.
So that's the way it goes. You're done harvesting for the year?
Yep, we got done this week.
Done this week. All right. So you got anything you need to pitch? Any other final thoughts? Things that we needed to cover that we didn't, or just the floor is yours. So if there's an issue in Henry County you want to get into, or a national thing, it's your time.
No, just thanks for inviting me. I'm glad to be here, and it's been a blast. Really impressed by this studio. You guys did a really good job on it.
The Lisa Crosby lights and the Christy Avery. What the hell do we call the thing that goes on?
A tripod?
It's an easel. the easel for our Sarah Potter phone over there, the tripod.
I'm pretty sure
studio.
That falls under defamation.
That is probably defamation, yes. The fancy easel. Homeschooled.
I was homeschooled too, but I know not to call that an easel.
I needed a word, whether it's the right one or not. All right. Well, very good, Kade. Man, I'm struggling.
And Mike Morrell wants you to talk about windmills for a second.
We can skip that for now. That's going to take a lot more time than we have.
And next time, you just don't support the cancer-causing ones, right?
No, yeah.
Only the ones that drive away the bees.
Yeah.
And not the ones that kill the birds and poison the groundwater and do all these horrible
I heard
things.
they mess up your Wi-Fi. I don't know why, but I heard they screw up your Wi-Fi.
Okay, but Wi-Fi causes cancer too, dang it. All these EMF signals are going through your house.
Yeah.
Don't you dare try to install a smart meter on my home.
I would plant a windmill in my backyard in a second.
Yeah.
Because I want cancer.
Just take up smoking. It's a lot
the
cheaper.
Fastest way to get it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Smoking's so much
prove
cheaper.
them wrong that way.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, we almost avoided the 10,000-pound elephant in the county, but thanks, Mike. We appreciate that. So, and to answer his question, there will be no show next week because of the holiday and me being locked out of the studio. There will be no show next week, so we're all going to take a break off.
Bailey and Lindsay can let you in. And it can just be you in here going, I wish I had guests.
No, I think I'll take the night off, too. I'll be hanging out with my baby brother at his party that he's invited everybody to but me. It's going to be fun. So, all right, Dakota.
We could do the podcast there. Just do a live podcast with people in the background. Nothing could go wrong.
Except we have to move all this equipment, and it's a nightmare. We've tried a couple of podcasts in the past with the party crowd, and they've never made the air. Spangle's tried 2 or 3 times, and it's never worked.
Well, it's a different group of people. They're better.
It's a better class of losers. So, Dakota, final thoughts for the final time as a single guy.
My final thoughts for this one, and I'm using it wisely, is a Facebook post that I came across that you showed me.
You're welcome.
Which was a local member of the Indiana Libertarian Party who made a post on Facebook commenting about her electric company, being very angry with them because they were going to install a smart meter on her home, talking about EMF signals, and she said that she educated the technician that came to her home and tried to install it on EMF signals. Or, I guess it's not a signal because it's an EMF is an electromagnetic frequency, so it's not an electromagnetic frequency signal. That doesn't make any sense. But educated him on EMFs, and she said he was very shocked and called his supervisor. And they will not be installing one at my home because my family's health is so much more important than that. It's just basically the cancer that she was worried about.
Who owns the meter?
You do not, as in the state of Indiana, you do not own your meter or your meter base. You own everything on the other side of that.
Right.
So what is in your home?
Right.
You own.
So the vendor can put on whatever they want to. Once they decide that they're not supporting that anymore, if you want to have electricity, they install whatever they want to, would be my understanding.
Correct. Because I'm here to tell you right now, a smart meter is a digital meter. It allows people in whatever central office it is for your electric company to view your energy usage. They aren't going to slow it down without your permission. They aren't going to cut off your power unless you do not pay your electric bill, just like they do now, except Now they have to send a meter technician out to actually do that. It can be controlled remotely. They can read it. It's much more accurate than a dial meter. Your bill might go up. That is a very real possibility because now they're actually getting accurate measurements. Your bill might go down because now they're actually getting accurate measurements. You don't know. Your smart meter is not going to cause a spontaneous fire because of combustion on the side of your house. Because
I can't think there's much more in electronics to that than there is in your DVD player.
In your standard alarm clock.
Yeah.
That's it. Because basically the wiring inside of your old dial meter is more complex than your smart meter, okay? So you have a few extra things that are going to be in your smart meter, but that's all for the digital screen and for the system that sends it back, all right? And that's everywhere. That's not just like every single little place that you drive by. There are pieces of equipment on poles that have the same technology in it. So it's not like it's some obscure thing that is all of a sudden popping up. They've had it for decades. It's not new. It's causing fire or spontaneously exploding. And it's not giving people that live around the poles cancer. You are worried about EMF, all right? And I get it. You're not educated on this subject enough. You read something on like what Rick Irvin just posted of naturalnews.com. That's not a credible source. That is written by some stay-at-home mother that also read something from another incredible source. Like you cannot
we just lost the stay-at-home mother crowd. EMF is an electromagnetic field, not a frequency, according to Gerald Paul Gabriel, one of my 35 first cousins.
But an
American hero, by the way. Coast Guard.
An EMF is typically a low frequency. It's an EIF or ELF, an electromagnetic low frequency. It's basically everything that a power transformer will emit around it. So this is what you're terrified of. So if you're so terrified of that, then explain to me the thousands of people who work inside substations every day, the thousands of people that have already retired from working in substations and passed away of different natural causes, live to be 90-some years old, and they're exposed to it. These workers are exposed to it at such higher magnitudes every day. You don't have to sit there in your freaking house with a aluminum foil blanket over your head because you're terrified of getting brain cancer from the meter outside of your house. That doesn't make any sense. And pseudo-intellectualism, just like I pointed out in our group chat, is the biggest thing that makes me so angry because I can't stand it. If you don't put the effort into something to actually have an educated opinion, then your opinion does not matter to me. And it shouldn't matter to anybody else in the entire world because you obviously don't care enough about the subject that you're researching to research it more and trust the people that do this professionally and actually have a degree in this subject.
Chuck McGill had it right. He took it seriously, and he had a space blanket, and you had to leave your cell phone in his in the mailbox if you were going to come visit him. So
that's my final thoughts.
If you're
that's
serious
actually
about
very
it.
similar to modern agriculture. When you think about GMOs and chemicals and the way people get all upset about it, it's very much the same thing.
It's very much the same thing.
They're recreationally upset about things they don't understand.
No, and they don't understand that. I mean, you just look at bananas. Have you ever seen a banana before we started genetically modifying them back in like the 1930s?
Yeah.
They were huge.
Yep.
And you had to pick out large, like vanilla bean looking seeds that grew inside of them to actually eat them. Like, people just don't understand these types of things. They don't educate themselves enough. And it's not the person's fault because they read something like a clickbait article and they're all of a sudden become alarmed. And you can't blame someone like that for reading it and then becoming concerned for their family and wanting to do something.
Generally, people fear the unknown.
Yeah, you can't blame someone for that. But at the same time, in your pocket, you have every single bit of information in the entire world available to you. So there's no excuse for ignorance in the 21st century. All right.
Well, Dakota, we appreciate your thoughtful counter-argument to to the meter debate, and Man, I'm excited for this weekend.
I am too. I'm really excited.
We're gonna do a dry run on Friday night.
And you know, like the weirdest thing is that I figured by this time I would be like super nervous.
Yeah, I really expect you to be nervous by now.
No, I'm not nervous at all. Like it doesn't make. I'm not scared of anything.
Audrey's terrified.
She should be. She's marrying me.
She's terrified that something's going to go wrong with the timeline. I got the most incredible, detailed 5-page PDF file of what's happening for every. It's like a storyline for every single person in the wedding that's involved. The caterer has script. From top to bottom, everybody has the defined role as to what they're supposed to do. There will be no doubts.
If there's anything you can say about Audrey, is that she's the most organized individual that I know. Like, it's incredible. It amazes me sometimes, like, still, and I've been with her for 5 years, and I'm still like, whoa. Like, whenever I got that PDF, and I sent it to all of my groomsmen, and they're all like, yeah, we already got it from Audrey.
Yeah, we got it 4 hours ago. Old news, Dakota.
Like, oh, okay.
Well, you did all right. I'm excited to be there, and I'm looking forward to all of our viewers listening now, coming to crash it on Saturday night, and see what kind of a boss hog turnout there is at your.
I feel like you have something
wedding.
Planned, and you're just not telling me about it.
It's pretty epic.
Because that's like the third time that you've said that.
We went through something like this on the bachelor party too, where you just. You know me well enough that now you're just paranoid that I do have something planned, so I don't have to plan anything. I can just get him before, and he just thinks I do. Now I only have to screw with him like 40% of the time, and he thinks I'm going to do it every time.
That's exactly right. Jeremiah is a terrifying friend to have.
But on the other hand, sometimes he'll bless you with 8 new glasses and a cake poster and a We Are Libertarians poster.
Yeah, that's right. I'm really disappointed you can't see the cake poster because of light.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to do some adjusting.
Have to do some adjustments. All right. Anyway, that's the end of the show for today. You can listen to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast on TuneIn Radio, on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Indiana Talks on the weekends. We're on Saturday and Sundays on Indiana Talks at noon. You can look for a special little episode that I did with Tim McGuire and Chris Spangle on We Are Libertarians that will be on this feed as an Easter egg. Just a probably 10 or 15-minute interview talking about the Arvin Vorha deal. And may or may not be in the We Are Libertarians feed as well. So appreciate everybody listening. Like the show, subscribe to the show. It's harder and harder to get Facebook to actually put us in your feed. So the best thing for you guys to do is to share us, share and like, and tell your friends about the show. We actually tried to do a paid post on the not on the video, but on just the regular link to the show. And it wouldn't work this week. Facebook embargoed us for whatever reasons. They wouldn't take my money. It wasn't good enough for them. So the way we grow is through your help. So anyway, we'll see you all in 2 weeks. No show next week. We'll be back on the 29th.
That's right.
Got it. All right.
I have to pee.
What? Over? But we only got to hear Dakota. Monica wants us to do more. Once again, I screwed up, so the first 10 minutes of the show are only on the